Welcome back, 3D modelers. This video is going to show you how to use the basic drawing tools in order to build some simple shapes and forms in SketchUp. So in order to complete your week 1 assignment, you're going to need to know how to draw shapes to certain dimensions. So I'm going to show you a few tools that are going to help you to do this. We won't be needing the pencil tool, but I'm still going to show you how it works anyways, in case you ever want to draw something that's not a rectangle or a circle. The pencil allows you to draw a straight line. And SketchUp is a one-click program. So just remember that you never have to drag your mouse. Never click and drag. You simply click once, let go, move your mouse, and then click again. So if I click once, then I start to move my mouse along here, you'll notice that I start to draw a line. I can make a really short line. I can make a really tall, long line. They can be up and down. See how it's on the blue axis? It's up and down. It can be on the ground. But you can make it any size you want. It's always going to be perfectly straight. So when I'm ready to end my line, I'm just going to click again, and there it is. You'll notice it wants to keep drawing. If I wanted to extend my line, I could. If I wanted to draw a new line out this direction, I could. You could keep drawing. You could eventually connect these if you wanted to, and it will create a shape. So if you need a shape that's not a circle or a square or a rectangle, you could use this pencil tool. If you want to draw a line to a certain measurement, it is very easy to do that. You'll notice this box at the bottom right corner of your screen that says length. Sometimes it says dimensions. It changes based on the tool that you are using. This will tell you the dimensions of a line or a shape that you've drawn. So if I start to draw a new line, as I move my mouse, you'll notice it's changing because the length of my line is changing. If I want to make a 1 foot line, I simply can type 1 foot and hit enter, and it will draw a line for me. You do not need to click into that box. You simply type as you're drawing your line. So I'll show you again. I'm going to click once. I'm going to start to drag my mouse across the screen. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, because when I type in the measurement, it's just going to make it that exact measurement. So this time I'll make it 2 feet. So I'm just going to type 2 feet, enter. And there's a 2 foot line. They look the same, but that's because we're so far out. If I started to zoom in here, you'd see that one of them is much bigger than the other. Okay, so that's how you create a measurement. If you want a line that's even smaller and you need to utilize inches, you don't have to type in inches, you just type the number. So if I want a 9-inch line, I'm going to click once, start to move my mouse. I'm just going to type 9 and hit enter. That's 9 inches. Okay, so now I have 9 inches here, a foot here, and 2 feet there. So that's how you can make a line to an exact measurement. Let's talk about drawing rectangles. This is a different tool. This time we're going to click the rectangle tool. Make sure you have the proper tool selected. This is going to draw a rectangle like all at once. Instead of creating 4 lines and connecting them to make a rectangle, we can draw it with 2 clicks. So if I click once, then I start to move my mouse around, you'll notice I can draw a rectangle that's up and down. I can draw a rectangle that's flat on the ground like this. That's what we want, because eventually we're going to pull up all of our shapes. And so if our shapes are not drawn on the ground, we will not be able to do that. So you want to make sure it looks like your shape is on the ground. You can just click again and it will draw the shape. And to show you it's enclosed, it has that gray on the inside. Let's do it again. Click once, move the mouse, click again. There's my rectangle. Okay, I can make rectangles to exact measurements in the same way I did with my lines. So if I want to make a perfect square, I can make a 2 foot by 2 foot square by clicking once, moving my mouse a little bit, type 2 feet, comma, 2 feet, enter. And there's my perfect square. If I wanted it to not be a perfect square and instead I want a rectangle, let's do, just have to make sure this is on the ground. That's the tricky part. I'm gonna do 3 feet, comma, 8 feet. This is gonna be big. Okay, so there's my rectangle. It measures it for you so you don't have to figure it out by drawing lines. If I want to make a circle inside this same tool, I can switch to a circle, and you will see the circle gets bigger as I move my mouse around. This circle is measured by the radius, which is only half the width of the circle. So if my radius is 3 feet, my circle is 6 feet wide. If my radius is 6 inches, my circle is 12 inches or 1 foot. So you just have to remember that as you're completing your assignment. SketchUp is measuring the radius, which is only half of the circle. So if I want a 1 foot circle, I'm going to type in 6 inches. So I just type 6 and hit enter, and there's my 1 foot circle. Okay, if I want a 3 foot circle, let's get this on the ground here. Okay, if I want a 3 foot circle, I'm going to type in 1.5 feet because that's the radius of a 3 foot circle. And there it is. Okay, so that's how you can build your shapes to exact measurements, which is what you're going to need to do in order to complete your assignment. Once you've drawn a shape on the ground like this, in order to make it 3-dimensional, you're going to use the push-pull tool, which is this one right here. It's a little square with an arrow coming out of it. You'll notice if you move your mouse over your shapes, they become dotted. That's how you know you've selected that shape. So if I click into my shape and then I pull up my mouse, it's going to build up that shape. So let me show you. Here's my square. I'm going to click into it, move my mouse up. I can build this so far. I can go up into the sky, I can go down into the ground. We're going to keep them all up above the ground. So when I click again, it ends. Click in once, click again, it ends. Click in once, pull it up. This is the most fun tool to use. Now, you're going to need to be able to make the height of your objects certain measurements also. So in order to do that, you do exactly what you did before when you were building your shapes. This time you just click in, start to pull it up. Say I want to pull it up 2 feet. I'm going to type in 2 feet, enter, and it builds it to that height. This is a really, really awesome tool. Let's pull this one up 6 feet. Okay, so that's how you are going to model those forms on the worksheet. You're going to build the shape on the bottom first to the correct measurements, and then you're going to pull it up to whatever the height is. So you're going to build them all in the same SketchUp file. And then once you want to check them, you should probably do this one by one. But if you want to check the measurements, you can simply click this measuring tape tool. The measuring tape will allow you to measure the height, the length, and the width of all of your objects. And you can see it finds the endpoints and tells you, so this was a 2 foot by 2 foot square. So you can see the length of my square is 2 feet. Okay, so that's how you can double check. If you don't like something you've drawn, just use the eraser tool to get rid of it. So once you've completed your assignment and you are ready to save it and upload it to the shared Google Drive folder, you are going to watch the third video tutorial.